Israel's armored history is unique. Formed in 1948 with salvaged French tankettes and rebuilt Shermans, the IDF turned captured and improvised vehicles into a highly effective armored force. From upgunned World War II, tanks defeating Soviet designs to the indigenous Merkava, focused on crew survival, Israeli armor evolved through constant war. Let's start with the early period. Renault R-35, French light tank with 37mm gun acquired before 1948 independence, mostly salvaged from junkyards and ex-British stocks. Thin armor and obsolete design limited usefulness, but they provided desperately needed armored presence during War of Independence, gradually replaced by better equipment through the 1950s. Hotchkiss H-39, another French light tank acquired in small numbers, featuring a 37mm gun and better reliability than the R-35. Israeli crews appreciated its mechanical simplicity despite obsolescence, served primarily in training roles after better tanks arrived. Cromwell, British cruiser tank acquired in limited numbers after World War II. Fast but lightly armored with a 75mm gun, it provided mobile firepower in early conflicts. Phased out by the mid-1950s as American Shermans became available in quantity. M22 Locust, tiny American airborne tank weighing only 7 tons, with a few acquired but rarely used operationally. Armed with a 37mm gun and too lightly protected for frontline combat. Primarily employed for training and reconnaissance when nothing better was available. M4 Sherman. Israel salvaged approximately 32 Shermans from World War II, scrapyards across Europe, North Africa, and even Philippines, many found in demilitarized condition requiring extensive reconstruction. These became the backbone of early Israeli armor, with crews appreciating their reliability and availability of spare parts from global surplus stocks. M4A2 Sherman, diesel-powered Sherman variant preferred by Israelis for logistics simplicity and reduced fire risk. Featured the same 75mm gun as the standard M4, but with a more reliable power plant. Served extensively in the 1956 Suez Crisis. M4A4 Sherman, longer-hulled Sherman variant with a Chrysler multi-bank engine. Many were acquired from British and French stocks. Later became prime candidates for gun upgrade conversions due to the spacious hull. M50 Super Sherman, Israeli conversion fitting the French 75mm CN 75-50 high-velocity gun into a modified Sherman turret. Developed with French support from 1954, around 300 tanks were converted with upgraded engines. The M50 saw combat in the Suez Crisis, Six-Day War, and the 1973 Yom Kippur War against far more modern armor. M51 Isherman, the ultimate Sherman variant, armed with a shortened French 105mm gun with a massive muzzle brake, using upgraded turrets, diesel engines, and HVSS suspension. About 180 tanks were converted from 1965, capable of destroying T-5455 and even T-62 tanks with heat rounds. The M51 served into the early 1980s. Centurion Mk5 Sho't, British main battle tank finally acquired in 1959 after years of negotiations. Initially armed with a 20-pounder gun, later, all tanks were upgraded to the 105mm L7 gun in Israeli service. Designated Sho't, meaning scourge, it became Israel's most important tank from 1967 to 1978, proving decisive in the Six-Day War and the Yom Kippur War. Eventually replaced by Merkava, but its influence remained as Centurion combat experience directly shaped Merkava design priorities. M48 Patton, American medium tank with a 90mm gun, acquired in the 1960s. Israeli forces quickly recognized the need for better firepower and logistics commonality with the Centurion fleet. This led to the development of the Magach program. M10 Wolverine, American World War II tank destroyer with a 76mm gun on a Sherman chassis. Limited numbers were acquired, and some were converted alongside Shermans fitted with French guns. The open-top design was vulnerable, but its mobile firepower was valuable. M7 Priest, American 105mm self-propelled howitzer on a Sherman chassis. It provided mobile artillery support for armored formations, reliable and available in surplus stocks from multiple nations. M3 Half-Track, iconic American armored personnel carrier acquired in large numbers. It transported infantry alongside tanks and provided the basis for numerous Israeli improvisations, including command vehicles, mortar carriers, and anti-aircraft platforms. It served into the 1980s in various roles. M16 MGMC, American half-track mounting quad, put on 50 caliber machine guns for air defense. It provided mobile air defense for columns and formations. It was also highly effective against ground targets. M42 Duster, American self-propelled twin 40mm anti-aircraft gun on a light tank chassis. Superior to the M16 in range and hitting power, it served through the 1970s, providing mobile air defense. M113 Zelda, Israeli designation for extensively modified M113 armored personnel carriers. These received additional armor, improved engines, and Israeli-designed weapon stations. It became the standard mechanized infantry transport through multiple wars. Captured Soviet equipment. T-3485. Limited numbers were captured from Egyptian and Syrian forces in 1967 and 1973. Israeli forces tested them extensively, learning Soviet tank capabilities and training crews on enemy equipment. Some were briefly used operationally when Israeli tanks were scarce. Su-100, Soviet tank destroyer with a powerful 100mm gun, captured in small numbers. It provided insight into Soviet anti-tank doctrine and weapon effectiveness. Most vehicles were relegated to training after evaluation. BTR-152, Soviet 6x6 armored personnel carrier captured from Arab armies. Its wheel design offered good road speed, but poor cross-country mobility. It was used for rear area duties and for studying Soviet APC concepts. BTR-50, tracked Soviet armored personnel carrier based on the PT-76 chassis. Captured examples provided intelligence on Warsaw Pact, mechanized infantry capabilities. It was better protected and more mobile than the BTR-152, but remained uncommon in Israeli service. ZSU-57-2, captured in limited numbers from Egyptian and Syrian forces during the 1967 and 1973 wars. The IDF evaluated the system to study Soviet air defense doctrine and weapon performance. Some vehicles were briefly used for training and trials, rather than frontline air defense service. Magach era. Magach, Israeli designation for upgraded American M48 and M60 Patton tanks. Original Magach conversions rearmed M48 tanks with the British 105mm L7 gun for commonality with Centurions, along with diesel engines, improved fire control, and upgraded armor. The program transformed mediocre M48 tanks into capable main battle tanks. Magach 7, designation for upgraded M60A1 tanks with Israeli improvements including Blazer reactive armor, improved fire control systems, and better engines. These tanks fought in the 1982 Lebanon War. Reactive armor proved highly effective against RPGs and early ATGMs. Sho't Cal, upgraded Centurion program developed in parallel with Magach. It featured Continental diesel engines, replacing the original gasoline power plants, improved fire control systems, and reactive armor. The name Cal, meaning easy or light, was ironically applied to a 51-ton tank. These vehicles served into the 1990s, in diminishing roles as Merkava tanks replaced them. The Merkava Revolution. Merkava Mk1. Developed after the 1973 Yom Kippur War, the Merkava Mk1 featured a front-mounted engine for crew protection, a rearward turret, and a rear door for evacuation or infantry transport. Armed with a 105mm M68 gun, it entered service in 1979 and first saw combat in the 1982 Lebanon War. Merkava Mk3. Major upgrade entering service 1990, featuring 120mm smoothbore gun, replacing 105mm, modular armor for easier battlefield repair, improved power pack, and suspension upgrades. Merkava Mk4M, latest variant entering service 2023, featuring AI-powered mission computer managing tank systems, reducing crew workload, and improving target acquisition. Enhanced sensors, networking for platoon-level coordination, represents cutting edge of main battle tank technology. Aksarit, heavy armored personnel carrier created by converting captured T-54 and T-55 tanks. The turret was removed, and a troop compartment was installed in the hull for 7 infantry soldiers, plus a 3-man crew. Thick Soviet armor provided protection far exceeding that of the M113. It entered service in 1988 and saw extensive combat in Lebanon and Gaza, where heavy armor proved essential in urban fighting. Namer APC, purpose-built heavy armored personnel carrier, using Merkava Mk1 hulls, and later newly built Mk4 hulls. The engine is positioned at the front like Merkava, with the troop compartment at the rear and a protected door. It carries 9 infantry soldiers plus a 3-man crew, with protection equivalent to a main battle tank. Entered service 2008 represents ultimate expression of Israeli Survivability First Doctrine. Namer IFV, infantry fighting vehicle variant of the Namer, mounting an unmanned turret with a 30mm cannon. Trials began in 2017, testing the Israeli Samson remote weapon station. It shifts the role from pure transport to direct fire support while maintaining heavy protection. Eitan 8x8, modern 8-wheeled armored fighting vehicle entering service in the 2020s to supplement the Namer in lower intensity threat environments. It offers better strategic mobility than tracked vehicles while maintaining substantial protection. Multiple variants are planned, including armored personnel carrier, infantry fighting vehicle, command, and recovery versions. Specialized vehicles. Pere, secret missile carrier disguised as a Magach tank, but actually mounting Spike anti-tank guided missile launchers. It was deployed during the 1980s and 1990s and remained unknown to the public for decades. The vehicle could engage targets beyond direct fire range, while appearing to the enemy as a standard tank. M109 Doher, Israeli designation for upgraded American M109, self-propelled 155mm howitzers. These received improved fire control systems, navigation equipment, and higher levels of automation. They provided mobile artillery support through multiple wars. Sho't, indigenous 155mm, self-propelled howitzer project based on a Merkava chassis. Intended to replace M109 fleet with fully automated system. Prototypes were built, but the program was canceled due to high costs. Israel continued upgrading M109 vehicles instead. M163 Vulcan, American self-propelled 20mm Gatling gun, used for air defense and ground support. Its very high rate of fire, up to 3,000 rounds per minute, was effective against aircraft, helicopters, and infantry. It was later supplemented by Israeli-developed systems. M113 Kazman, fire support variant of the M113, mounting various weapon systems, including heavy machine guns, automatic grenade launchers, and anti-tank missiles. It provided low-cost mobile firepower in situations where Merkava tanks were not required. Combat engineering vehicles. D9R armored bulldozer. Caterpillar D9 bulldozer, fitted with an extensive armor package, including ballistic glass, armor plating, and belly armor. It is used for clearing obstacles, destroying structures, and route clearance in urban combat. The vehicle became iconic during the Second Intifada and Gaza operations. Crews have survived direct rocket-propelled grenade hits that would destroy unarmored bulldozers. Puma Sevi, purpose-built combat engineering vehicle based on a Centurion chassis. It is armed with a 160mm demolition gun firing, bunker-busting charges, and can destroy fortifications from standoff distance. The vehicle is supplemented by mine rollers, plows, and excavation equipment. Carpet mine breacher, vehicle-mounted mine clearing system that fires rocket-propelled line charges to detonate mines along a cleared path. It allows armored formations to rapidly breach minefields under fire, and is essential for offensive operations in heavily mined terrain. Unmanned ground vehicles. Jaguar UGV, unmanned ground vehicle, developed by Israel Aerospace Industries for reconnaissance, surveillance, and potential combat roles. It represents the future direction of Israeli armored forces by reducing crew exposure through remote operations. The system uses multiple sensors, including thermal imaging, and can mount weapons capable of remote firing. Robot, unmanned platform designed for multiple missions including logistics resupply, casualty evacuation, and reconnaissance. It can operate in chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear environments that are too dangerous for human crews. The system is part of a broader Israel Defense Forces initiative to reduce soldier exposure to battlefield threats.